Hey baby, this is Ro. Welcome to the back of the classroom. Go ahead and hit the like button, get your 10 seconds for the day, and let's get started. Today we're talking about Law 25, Recreate Yourself, from the 48 Laws of Power. And it's a good book, it's a good read, interesting chapter. But how does it apply to you today? If you will realize most people aren't who they want to be, they're who society told them they should be. So that means you're pretty much living for somebody else. Why would you want to live for somebody else when it's your body, it's your life, it's everything you set out to want to do and be? So live for you. And naturally, everyone has their own experiences. Everybody has their way of living, things that they do. That's their life. And if they can give you some type of insight, beautiful, great. If they can tell you what they've experienced and they told it to you from a perspective of, this is my experience, great. But far too many people are willing to tell you, this is what it is, and this is how it is, and I know this because this is what I experienced. And too many people were willing to believe that their life is the way everybody else's life is, or because of their experiences, that's how majority of the world is. So far from the truth, but you can't stop people from believing what they believe. And you have to take your own life experiences, your journeys through life, to understand everybody don't know it all. Everybody haven't experienced it all. And if I'm not mistaken, the proper term is anecdotal experiences. They're only specific to you. They're not specific to everybody, which is why you need the village mentality. Everybody can teach you something. Everybody has their different experiences. Everybody has different viewpoints. We all can see the same sunset and say something completely different about it because we grew up in a different house, different times, different teachers, different mentors. So many different things about our atmosphere, especially the people that was around us, unique to us. So why believe one person at one specific time with one group of friends or village can know it all? You can go to a different country and learn different cultures and realize that's false. So you can bring it down to a neighborhood. You can bring it down to an apartment building, a house, your neighbors, your block you live on. Everybody has different experiences. So imagine allowing yourself to be put in a box somebody else created. Why would you do that? Now you're limited to somebody else's imagination, creativity, insight, and then you're not living to your full potential. Don't do that to yourself. Look into learning about yourself. Ask people questions. Use your village. Ask people around you. Start with the people you trust. Get a feel for how they see things, how they see you, how you want to project yourself. Then take that information and meet new people. And then see how they respond to what it is you're learning. And then keep growing outward and outward and outward and outward until you've met so many people and you've done reinvented yourself so many times, because there is something you want to be. There is a certain way you want to come across to people. And you can't do that by limiting yourself to other people's mindset, perspective. And if you stay in one place for too long, you're so limited because there's so much about you haven't experienced. And people tend to have a narrow vision. And if you don't allow yourself to, how I want to say, expand, you expand by the more people you're around, the more cultures and ways of life that you get to be around and understand how things are. And then that network of people, not necessarily friends or family, but they could be associates or just people you come to interact with, right? And you'll see that the person you used to be isn't the same person you are today. But you have to be willing to command attention because you need to be able to look at you, right? Never bore the audience because then people want to turn away from you. You want to get them to be engaged. You want them to get to know who you are and absorb who you are, and then you get their feedback. Look at people who do clothing. You get something, you design it, it's what you like. Then you got to find people who are like you, who likes the same thing you like, but you got to find them. Everybody's not going to like what you like. So when you find them and then other people look at it and they're like, oh, wow. And then you start learning about different people's styles and then you start catering to other people. Why? Because you already know what you like. It's very easy to make things you like, but you want more. And that more comes from finding out what other people like, which in then turns tell you about yourself. How willing are you to do things for others? Type of person you are. And if you're limited by one person's perspective, let's say your parents wanted you to be a doctor. You might not even like people to the point where you want to save them. You might not have steady hands. You might not have the best bedside manner when it comes to people who are ill. You might be more funny. You might be more of a lifting of the mood type of person, which probably wouldn't be the best place for you to be, probably somewhere else, but you wouldn't know that if you always did what everybody else wanted you to do because that's what they felt you should do, instead of people learning who you are, figuring out what you want to do. It's very different lifestyles. And I guess an important question you ask kids at a certain age is, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And most people don't realize you've put them under such pressure to be what you want them to be. Their answer is always, I don't know. They just know they don't want to do what you told them they wanted to do. And that's makes sense, right? They know for as long as you've been telling them, or for as long as you've been told what you should do, you know that's not what you want to do. But you've never been given the time and the energy and the resources to figure out what it is you want to do. So if you think about it, why do that to somebody else? Or why continue to let that be your story? Learn what you want to do. And don't be limited to somebody else's mindset. Keep going outside your circle and learning and adapting and recreating. And before you know it, you will find your passion. You will find what drives you. You will find the things that make you the best version of you. But you can't do that doing what everybody else wants you to do. You got to do what you want to do. You got to figure out what makes your life, what's your purpose. You find that, you could be anything. You could do anything. You can have anything because you're putting your mind to it. You're not following someone else's instructions. You can pay attention to the warnings, the signs, end of the road, dead end, 30 miles per hour. Sure, understand the rules of where you're at and what you're doing. Understand the warnings. This road is a dead end. Railroad crossing. Understand all of that because you need to know where you're at and what you're doing. And then you can determine if that's where you want to be. And sometimes you got to relocate. You have certain states. Let's go with the city. You have certain things you can't do inside a city limit. You can do outside the city limit. Then you got certain states that says this is okay. And you got other states that says it's not okay. So sometimes you got to relocate. Sometimes you got to meet new people. Sometimes you have to do all of the above. And that's just for a general sense of who you are and what you want to do, what you want to be. Some people figure it out very early in life and do the very thing that they want to do, and they had all the resources. So they didn't have to change cities. They didn't have to relocate and meet new people. Some people were actually given the tools and resources to figure out what they wanted to do and be, and they flourished in it. But is that your story? If not, let's figure it out. If you made it this far in the podcast, I thank you. I appreciate you. Check out Rel's Locker. Some new things are coming. Stay tuned. Locked in. Subscribe. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.